You signed it. It's done, my mother-in-law said, waving sale papers in my hospital room. I was still hooked to an IV, barely conscious after surgery. You sold my condo? I whispered. She smiled like she'd already won. It was never really yours. What she didn't know was everything. My name is Danielle Brooks. I'm 34 years old. I work as a remote UX designer for a tech startup based in Seattle. I built my career slowly, project by project, one pixel at a time, while the people around me dismissed what I did as playing on a laptop. I was married for 6 years to a man who loved me second and loved his mother first. I bought my condo before the marriage, saved for 7 years straight, skipped vacations, drove a 2009 Honda Civic with a cracked dashboard and a passenger window that stuck in the rain. I put $147,000 down on a 2-bedroom unit in a building with a doorman and a view of the water. That condo was mine. Every cent of it earned, every dollar of it documented. But to my husband's family, I was the woman who married above her level. His mother made sure I understood that. Every holiday, every dinner, every phone call that went on too long, she'd glance at my laptop screen and say, "That little computer hobby won't pay real bills." She told her friends I was sweet but simple. She told Tyler I was lucky he found me. I'm not flashy. I don't raise my voice. I don't fight in public. But I had something they never expected. I had patience, records, and a second property they knew absolutely nothing about. Before I continue, please like and subscribe, but only if this story resonates with you. If you've ever been treated like your hard work doesn't count because it doesn't look traditional, this one is for you. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Now let me take you back to where this all began. I met Tyler when I was 27. He was charming, confident, and well-connected. He worked in commercial real estate under his mother's firm. His mother, Genevieve, ran the family like a corporation. Every decision filtered through her. Every dollar had her fingerprint on it. From the beginning, she tested me. At our first dinner together, she asked what I did for a living. I told her I designed user interfaces for mobile apps. She stared at me for 3 full seconds, then turned to Tyler and said, "She plays on computers?" The table laughed. I smiled and ate my pasta. When Tyler and I got engaged, Genevieve offered to help plan the wedding. What she actually meant was she would plan the wedding and I would show up. She picked the venue, the flowers, the seating chart. She invited 43 people I had never met. When I asked about my guest list, she said, "Honey, you don't really have people, do you?" I paid $18,400 toward that wedding from my personal savings. Genevieve never acknowledged a cent of it. She told every guest she handled everything herself. After the wedding, the favoritism became sharper. Tyler's younger sister, Lauren, was the son the family orbited around. Lauren received a $62,000 car for her 25th birthday. Lauren's tuition at a private design school totaled $214,000, all covered by Genevieve. Lauren's apartment deposit, her European vacations, her wardrobe budget, everything paid for without a single question asked. When I asked Tyler for help covering a $3,200 dental bill one winter, Genevieve called me financially irresponsible. She said, "If you had a real career, you wouldn't need to beg." I wasn't begging. I was asking my husband. But in that family, asking Tyler for anything meant going through Genevieve first. My income grew quietly. By 32, I was earning $127,000 a year from my design contracts alone. But I never told them the number. They still assumed I made pocket change from a hobby. I let them believe it. Something inside me understood early on that being underestimated by these people was safer than being targeted by them. I kept my finances completely separate. My own bank accounts, my own savings, my own investment portfolio. Tyler never asked questions because he genuinely didn't think there was anything worth asking about. Genevieve once told him over brunch, "Just make sure she doesn't drain your accounts." He laughed when she said it. I didn't. The condo was my anchor. I refinanced it once to lock in a lower rate. By the time I went in for surgery, it appraised at $528,000. It was fully in my name. Or so I believed. When I scheduled a minor procedure for a torn rotator cuff, I told Tyler to handle the mail and water the plants. Simple things, safe things. I did not tell him to sell my home. That is exactly what happened while I was unconscious on an operating table, and the woman holding the paperwork was smiling when I opened my eyes. I woke up groggy. My mouth was dry. My left arm was wrapped in a sling and pinned against my chest. The fluorescent lights buzzed above me like trapped insects. I could smell antiseptic and something faintly sweet, like someone had been eating candy in the room. Tyler was standing near the window with his arms crossed. Genevieve sat in the visitor chair, legs crossed, holding a manila folder pressed against her knee. She was smiling, not the polite kind, the satisfied kind. "We handled everything while you were under," she said. "No need to stress." I blinked. Handled what? Tyler shifted his weight from one foot to the other. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Genevieve opened the folder and turned it toward me. "The condo sale closed this morning. Full asking price, $528. My stomach dropped. The room tilted sideways. I felt like the anesthesia had surged back into my veins, heavy and cold and impossible to fight. "You sold my condo?" "Our condo." Tyler corrected quietly. "It's in my name," I said. Genevieve waved her hand, like she was brushing a fly from the air. "You authorized it. Digital signature. Before the surgery. You said it was fine." I didn't say it was fine. I never said anything close to fine. I was in a pre-op room counting backward from 10 while a nurse adjusted my IV drip. "I never signed anything," I said. She leaned forward. Her perfume hit me, sharp and floral. "You were drugged, not dead. You agreed." A nurse paused in the doorway. I could feel her listening. My cheeks burned. "The proceeds are already in the family account," Genevieve continued. "We're investing in a multi-unit property Lauren found. It's a wonderful opportunity for everyone." "Your family account," I said. "Our family." She said it like a correction, the way you'd correct a child mispronouncing a word. Tyler finally spoke again. "It's temporary, Danielle. We needed liquidity. You can stay at the house on Birch Street, Mom's old place." The house on Birch Street was Genevieve's childhood home. 2 bedrooms, no updates since 1991. A kitchen with yellow tile and a window that wouldn't close all the way. That was my consolation prize for losing a $500,000 property. I looked at Tyler. He stared at the floor. I looked at Genevieve. She looked at me like I should be grateful. The nurse had moved on. The heart monitor beeped steadily. My shoulder throbbed under the bandage. I lay there, alone, in every way that mattered. And something inside me went very quiet. Not broken quiet, focused quiet. The kind of silence that comes right before a decision you'll never take back. From that hospital bed, I made the easiest decision of my life. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice or ask another question. I asked Tyler to hand me my phone, and I pretended to scroll through recovery instructions the surgeon had sent. What I was actually doing was opening my encrypted cloud folder and taking inventory. Here is what Genevieve never knew about me. For 3 years, I had been running an anonymous YouTube channel focused on UX design tutorials and tech industry reviews. It had grown to 489,000 subscribers. My digital design marketplace sold templates, icon kits, and interface packages to developers in over 40 countries. In the 12 months before my surgery, that online business generated $412,600 in revenue, more than the condo had ever cost me. And 6 months earlier, I used that income to purchase a penthouse apartment through my LLC. 2 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, a terrace facing the skyline, fully paid. Legally separate from my marriage. Tyler's name was nowhere on the deed. Genevieve didn't know the address. Nobody in that family had any idea the property existed. Genevieve once sat at Thanksgiving dinner, wine glass in hand, and said, "Only idiots watch those online tech girls." I nodded and poured myself another glass. She was describing my audience. She was describing my income stream. She just had no idea. From my hospital bed, I texted Rebecca Chen. Rebecca was my former startup mentor, a woman with sharp instincts and deep connections across both the legal and tech industries. She had always respected my intelligence and always pushed me to protect myself financially. I told her what happened. She called back in 4 minutes. "Send me the sale documents," she said. No hesitation, no small talk. I sent them. By the next morning, I had contacted a real estate attorney through my business account. I requested the digital timestamp records from the condo sale authorization. The electronic signature was logged at 7:14 a.m. My surgery began at 6:45 a.m. General anesthesia was administered at 6:47 a.m. I was fully unconscious 22 minutes before someone clicked approve on my behalf. I saved everything: screenshots, login records, IP address logs, my full medical chart marking the exact minute the anesthesia entered my bloodstream. Rebecca connected me with a cyber forensics specialist her firm had used on a previous case. Within 2 days, he traced the authorization login to an IP address registered to 41 Winding Brook Lane, Genevieve's home address. Meanwhile, Genevieve was already celebrating. She posted renovation photos on her social media: new countertops, Italian tile backsplash, recessed lighting. She tagged Lauren. She tagged Tyler. She did not tag me. She was spending money that came from my walls, my kitchen, my view of the water. She had no idea what was coming. I need to pause here. Have you ever had someone make a major financial decision about your life without your permission? Have you ever been underestimated by someone who should have respected you? Comment "my roof" if you have. Now, let me tell you what happened next. 3 weeks after my surgery, Genevieve organized a meeting at the family lawyer's office. She called it a trust consolidation. She wanted all family assets, including every dollar from the condo sale, placed under a trust she controlled. Lauren was listed as co-trustee. My name did not appear anywhere in the document. She invited me as a formality. She expected me to sit in a chair, nod politely, and sign whatever was placed in front of me. She told Tyler the night before, "Just make sure she shows up and doesn't make a scene." Tyler called me. "It'll be quick," he said. "Just a few signatures." "I'll be there," I said. The office was downtown, 12th floor, a glass conference room overlooking the river. When I arrived, Genevieve was already seated at the head of the table, which was not her table. The family attorney, Dennis Howell, sat to her right with a stack of documents organized by colored tabs. Tyler sat across from him, hands folded in front of him. Lauren was next to Tyler, scrolling her phone without looking up. I walked in carrying a single brown folder. I wore a black blazer and a white blouse. My left arm was still in a sling. I sat down at the far end of the table without greeting anyone. Dennis began reviewing the trust structure. He outlined the asset transfers, the tax advantages, the distribution schedule. Genevieve nodded along like she had written every word herself. She probably had. When Dennis paused and asked if there were any questions before proceeding, I spoke. "Before we go any further, I need something entered into the record." The room went still. Genevieve tilted her head slowly. "Entered into what record? This isn't a courtroom, sweetheart." I opened my folder. First, I placed a certified copy of my surgical record on the table. It documented anesthesia administration at 6:47 a.m. and confirmed full sedation by 6:52 a.m. Then I placed the digital authorization log from the condo sale. The signature timestamp read 7:14 a.m., 22 minutes after I was unconscious. Then I placed the cyber forensics report. The login that authorized the sale originated from an IP address registered to 41 Winding Brook Lane, Genevieve's home. Nobody moved. The air in that room changed. Genevieve's smile didn't vanish all at once. It faded in stages. First, the corners of her lips softened, then the brightness left her eyes. Then her shoulders dropped half an inch, like someone had cut a wire that was holding them up. "That's a technical glitch," she said. Her voice was thinner now. Tighter. "It's fraud," I said. "And depending on how the prosecutor reads it, it could be forgery." Dennis set his pen down slowly. He looked at Genevieve the way a doctor looks at a scan that just changed the entire diagnosis. I continued. "I've already filed a formal complaint with the county prosecutor's office. The remaining proceeds from my condo sale have been frozen. My attorney filed the motion 2 days ago." Tyler leaned forward. The color drained from his face. "Danielle, what are you doing?" "I'm protecting what's mine." Lauren finally looked up from her phone for the first time since I'd entered the room. I placed one final document on the table, a property deed, my penthouse. Purchased through my LLC 7 months prior, fully paid, legally separate from my marriage, completely untouchable. Tyler stared at it. His jaw dropped slightly, then clenched shut. "You own another property?" "Yes," I said. Because I learned a long time ago not to put everything in one place, especially not in a place where other people hold the keys. Genevieve's hands pressed flat against the conference table. Her fingertips turned white against the dark wood. Her jaw was locked tight. Her eyes glistened, not with sadness, but with the kind of fury that has nowhere left to go. Dennis cleared his throat. Mrs. Pratt, I need to advise you that if these documents are verified, and they appear to be authentic, there are serious criminal implications involved. I cannot proceed with the trust consolidation under these circumstances. I would strongly recommend you retain separate counsel immediately. Genevieve opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I stood up. I closed my folder and pressed it against my side. I looked at Tyler one last time. He looked like a man watching his entire future collapse in slow motion, too stunned to reach for any of the falling pieces. You all treated me like I was small because I didn't shout, I said. My voice was steady, but quiet and empty are not the same thing. I walked out of that conference room. My shoulder ached. My hands were steady. The glass door closed behind me, without a sound. I moved into my penthouse that weekend. 2 suitcases. My laptop. A box of books I'd been meaning to read for 2 years. I left behind 6 years of trying to be enough for people who were never going to let me be. I filed for legal separation the following Monday. My attorney handled the paperwork. Tyler called 14 times that first week. I answered once. He said he didn't know the signature was forged. He said his mother told him I agreed before the surgery. He said he was sorry. I told him sorry doesn't return what was stolen. Then I hung up. The fraud investigation moved forward. The county prosecutor's office subpoenaed Genevieve's devices. The forensics matched. The IP address. The login credentials. The timestamps lined up perfectly with my surgical records. She retained a criminal defense attorney within 48 hours of being notified. The condo sale was flagged and partially reversed. I recovered $391,000 of the original $528,000. The remaining funds had already been spent on Lauren's renovation project. That became part of the civil suit. Genevieve's reputation came apart quietly. Extended family members started asking questions she couldn't answer without contradicting herself. Her social media accounts went dark. Lauren stopped posting renovation photos. Tyler moved into the house on Birch Street, the one with the yellow tile kitchen and the window that doesn't close all the way. A few people in the family reached out to me. An aunt I barely knew sent a message that said, I always felt something was wrong with how she controlled things. A cousin called to apologize on behalf of people who weren't actually sorry themselves. I thanked them both. I didn't invite them closer. I built my boundaries with paperwork and property lines, not with hope. For 6 years, I believed that love meant letting other people make decisions for me. I believed that keeping the peace was the same as being at peace. I believed that if I stayed quiet long enough, they would eventually see me as one of their own. I was wrong. Peace isn't something other people hand you at a dinner table. It's something you build for yourself, wall by wall, document by document, decision by decision. And sometimes it means walking away from people who only valued you when you were easy to control. They sold what they thought was my only roof. They never realized I had already built my own sky. If you're carrying a weight that was never yours to hold, set it down, not with anger, not with noise, with clarity, with preparation, with the kind of quiet power that nobody sees coming until it's already standing in the room. Your silence is not your weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest thing you have. If someone in your family ever made financial decisions behind your back, you know how deeply that violation cuts. If you've been manipulated, gaslit, or told your work doesn't matter because it doesn't look the way they think it should, I hear you. Share your experience in the comments. You are not alone in this. Subscribe and tell me your story below. Thank you for staying with me through this one. If it resonated, hit like and subscribe. Click hype to help this story reach someone who needs to hear it today. Check out the next video for another story about standing up for yourself when no one expects it. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.